It started with a strange smell. Not too strong, but it made me uncomfortable every time I bent down or changed my clothes. At first, I thought maybe it was normal, maybe I was just sweating too much. Lagos heat can make you smell anything. But after 2 days, I noticed something else. A white discharge. Thick. Then watery. Then sometimes yellowish. I wiped it and told myself it would stop. But it didn't. That was how my long suffering began. My name is Adaeze, and this story is not something I'm proud of. But I want to say it because maybe another girl will learn from what I'm going through. I've been dating Chuka since 2021. For years now. Everyone who knows us thinks we're perfect together. We eat together, laugh together, pray together sometimes. I've never loved any man the way I love Chuka. He didn't have much when we met, but I didn't care. I used to buy him shirts and shoes so he could look good. I even gave him money when he was broke, because I wanted him to feel like he was doing well. I didn't want him to ever feel less than other men. We were close, too close. And like many couples, we were also intimate. I gave myself to him every time he wanted. Part of me believed that if I satisfied him, he wouldn't look outside. I wanted to keep him. One day in 2022, something changed. We were joking on the bed, talking about things we saw on TikTok. Someone mentioned trying it from the back, and I laughed. But later that week, I found myself thinking about it. I was curious. I wanted to surprise him, to make him happy. So I bought a small bottle of lubricant. I didn't tell him until that night. He was shocked but happy. I told him I wanted to try it, just to see how it would feel. The first time was horrible. It was painful, so painful I cried. He stopped and held me. But after a few more tries, it became something we both liked. Especially him. That's how it became a normal thing. I thought nothing bad could come from it. I cleaned myself, I washed after every time. I thought I was safe. But last year, I started falling sick. It started small, discharge, itching, burning sometimes. The doctor said it was infection. I took drugs, and it went away. But 2 weeks later, it came back. Then again. And again. This year, it refused to stop at all. I've taken injections, swallowed pills, done several tests. They all say no problem. But how can there be no problem when I wear pads every day since June? When I smell myself even after bathing 3 times a day? I haven't told anyone about the anal thing. Not even the doctor. I'm too ashamed. But sometimes when I lie awake at night, I ask myself, what if it's because of that? What if something shifted inside me, something tore? Now Chuka doesn't even touch me like before. He says I smell different. He says he's tired. And that's what hurts the most. I remember the night I broke down. It was a Sunday evening. I had just finished bathing, but when I sat on the bed, I felt something warm run down my thighs. When I looked, the pad was soaked, not with blood, but with a thick, brownish fluid that smelled like rotten fish. I cried. Not loud, but the kind of quiet cry that comes from deep inside. The kind that feels like your heart is leaking out of your chest. I didn't know what to do anymore. I had tried everything, met 3 different doctors, taken all the tablets they gave me. Even used herbal mixtures one woman in my street swore by. But nothing changed. That night, when Chuka came back from work, I told him I was feeling worse. He looked at me, sighed, and said, "Adaeze, maybe you should just rest more. Maybe it's spiritual." I wanted to scream. He didn't understand. I needed care, not prayers. For weeks, I noticed how distant he became. He would come home late, sleep on the couch, or scroll on his phone while I sat beside him like a stranger. One day, I asked him directly. "You don't love me again?" He said. "You know I love you, Adaeze. But this smell, it's too much. You need to fix yourself." Fix myself. That word broke me. As if I wanted this. As if I chose to smell this way. I went to another hospital, a private one this time. I paid 15,000 naira for consultation. The doctor asked all the usual questions, then told me to lie down for an examination. I was shaking, but I did. After the test, he looked confused. He said everything looked normal. He asked, "Have you ever done any unusual sexual act before?" I froze. I wanted to say no. But something inside me said, "Tell the truth." So I told him. Everything. He looked at me quietly and said, "You might have what we call rectovaginal fistula. It happens when there's a tear between the rectum and the vagina. Sometimes it's caused by repeated anal sex." The words hit me like thunder. Tear. Between where and where? He explained that sometimes, during rough or repeated anal intercourse, the wall separating the two parts can tear slightly. It causes fluid from one part to leak into the other, leading to constant discharge, infection, and smell. I couldn't believe it. My heart was pounding so hard, I could hear it in my ears. When I got home, I told Chuka. He didn't even let me finish before saying, "So it's that thing you brought up that is now spoiling your body." He made it sound like I did everything to myself. Like I deserved it. That night, I cried till morning. I thought about how much I loved him. How much I had given. How I only wanted to make him happy. And now, I was the one paying for it. After that night, something in me changed. I stopped trying to explain myself to Chuka. He didn't care anymore. Even when he was around, it felt like he wasn't. Sometimes I would wake up and find him scrolling through his phone, smiling at messages. When I asked who it was, he'd just say, "Work people." But I knew. I knew it wasn't work. He had started seeing someone else. Still, I stayed. Not because I was stupid, but because I was scared. Scared of being alone. Scared no one would ever want me again with this smell, this discharge, this body that no longer felt like mine. I wore pads every single day. I kept perfume beside my bed, in my bag, even in the kitchen. But no matter what I did, the smell always came back. One afternoon, my neighbor, Auntie Ngozi, stopped me and said quietly, "My dear, I don't know if you're aware, but something is smelling around you. Please check yourself." That moment broke something inside me. I went back inside, locked my door, and just sat on the floor. I didn't cry. I didn't move. I just sat there, staring at nothing. That evening, Chuka came in and said he was moving out for a space. He packed some of his things and left. He didn't even look back. For 2 weeks, I was like a ghost. I didn't go to work. I barely ate. I just stayed in bed, thinking of how my life turned upside down. Then one morning, I got a message from the doctor who had examined me. He said the tear could be repaired, but it would need surgery. I didn't have the money, but I had a small savings from the small business I was running before everything went bad. I decided to try. The surgery was done at a teaching hospital in Enugu. It was painful, but the doctor was kind. He said it might take months to heal completely. And for the first time in almost a year, I felt hope. After the surgery, the discharge reduced. Then slowly, the smell disappeared. It wasn't instant, but it was happening. Chuka never came back. He didn't even check on me once. But I learned to live with that. Sometimes, late at night, I think of him, of how we started, how I tried to love him right, how I thought giving my body meant keeping his heart. But now, I know better. Healing is not just about the body. It's about forgiving yourself. I forgave myself for not knowing. I forgave myself for staying too long. I forgave myself for loving someone who couldn't love me when I was broken. I started selling thrift clothes again. I joined a small women's group in my area. I met girls who were going through their own pain too. Now, when I see a young woman talking about doing everything to please a man, I just shake my head quietly. I don't judge. I just pray she learns before it's too late. Because I learned the hard way that love without care is danger. And trying to keep someone who doesn't value you can destroy not just your heart, but your body too. It's been almost a year since the surgery. Sometimes I still wake up and check myself, just to be sure the discharge hasn't come back. It hasn't. The doctor said my body healed well. But the truth is, my mind took longer to heal than my body. There are nights I still remember everything, the pain, the shame, the smell, the way Chuka looked at me like I was a burden. It used to hurt so much. But now, the pain feels far away. Like a story that happened to someone else. I moved back to my parents' house for a while. My mother didn't know all the details, but she saw the sadness in my eyes. One night she held my hand and said, "Adaeze, sometimes what looks like punishment is just God pushing us away from something that would have destroyed us." I cried that night. Not because of sadness, but because it was the first time in a long while that I felt understood. Slowly, I started rebuilding my life. I went back to selling thrift clothes, this time more seriously. I opened an Instagram page, posted clear pictures, replied to messages, and within months, people started buying. It wasn't much, but it was mine. One afternoon, I saw Chuka again. I was at a small shopping plaza, buying fabrics. I turned, and there he was, standing near the ATM, talking on the phone. He looked good, maybe even better than before. For a moment, my heart jumped. Then I realized I didn't feel anger. Just calm. He saw me too. He walked over, smiling awkwardly. "Adaeze," he said, "you look fine. Long time." I nodded. "I'm okay. How are you?" He looked down, maybe ashamed. He said something like, "I'm sorry for how things went." And I said, "It's alright. Everything that happened taught me something." He looked confused. "Taught you what?" I smiled a little. "That I can survive without anyone who makes me feel small." He didn't reply. He just nodded and walked away. That night, when I got home, I stood in front of my mirror and looked at myself properly for the first time in years. No smell. No discharge. No sadness. Just me, healed, tired, but free. Sometimes, I still wonder what would have happened if I never went through all that pain. But then I remind myself, maybe I needed to break before I could really understand my own worth. Now, I talk to young women about body health and self-respect. Not in fancy events, just small talks in my area, at the market, in church. I tell them, don't ever lose yourself because you want to keep someone. Because I almost lost my life doing that. And even though my story still hurts to remember, I'm proud I came out alive. My name is Adaeze, and I'm finally clean, inside and out.